Good evening and hello, my beautiful souls. So, today we're going to be talking about calmness and what it means to remain in a state of calm when we're calling in this new version of ourselves, right? Or calling in our SP, or calling in money, calling in the career, calling in the job, the raise, whatever, the promotion. And we can call all of these things in, but we need to be aware of who we are being when we're calling in all of these beautiful things, right? Because if we're doing it from a state of anxious attachment, then we're always going to be checking, we're always going to be questioning and doubting and wondering, and it's just going to delay it from. I'm not going to say it can't happen, because of course anything is possible, but it's the state of being that allows us to magnetize and really pull in that desire or those things that we are calling into our lives from the version of the person who already has it, from the end, living from the end. Neville says, always living from the end, being in the state, which is great when we're feeling good. It's so easy, right? But I don't know about you, but there are times when I am so anxious and I would get worried and doubtful and fearful, and I noticed that the old identity tries to pull us all, me, you, whoever, tries to suck us back into that fearful state, the one that doesn't receive, that doesn't get, that's not chosen, that's not cherished, or maybe is, but not 100% of the time, right? Like not always feeling that you are that person that you are claiming to be. And so one of the things that has really helped me, and I'm going to read some scripture as well, because I really know, and there's Neville who's used the Bible, and Joseph Murphy, and so many poets and philosophers that have taught ancient scriptures as well, embody, and the just Jesus, of course, like all of the great beings that we can draw from. And the Bible is one of those places, because I really feel like when we look at it from a metaphysical standpoint, it makes sense. What didn't make sense to me before makes sense, and it just resonates as an inner knowing, right? That's what manifestation is. It's knowing it before it manifests. It's knowing that that's going to happen, or knowing that that thing is yours before it even comes into fruition, right? Without proof or evidence. That's what manifestation is. And also, we can manifest from a state of heightened emotion, which is great. But it can also work against us when we're in heightened fear and heightened anxiety and heightened anxious attachment. So it's about being calm when we are calling in these things, and calming ourselves down, and figuring out what works for us in order to just like calm down the racing heart or the pit in the stomach, right? So, but we'll read some scripture first. And the first one is that I'm going to quote is from Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. Really, what this means is to just truly be still. Like, shut the TV off, turn off your notifications, put your phone on silent, eliminate as many outside distractions as you can, because I'm going to tell you right now, and those of you who know, the mind is fucking hard enough to calm down the chatter. So like, why add to it by having additional distractions like TV, music, noise? This is why it's been said to, which I don't do all the time, and honestly I haven't done in a while, but I when I can, I do, is to wake up at least before everyone else does, or if you can, wake up as the sun is rising, because that's supposed to be like a very peak time of quiet and calm and quiet contemplation. And so this is a really, really good time Anytime's a good time, but that's especially a good time when there's nobody and it's quiet, to sit with yourself and to be aware of the thoughts that run across your mind. And people are like, oh my God, I can't get my mind to stop. No, that's the whole fucking point, is to just be aware of it. You're the awareness beyond the thoughts. You are the sky and those thoughts are the clouds. You know, that's a very famous quote from Muji, who I love. If anybody has not heard of him, I highly recommend go and watch some of his videos, and as he says, marinate in the awareness of I am. It's beautiful Indian philosophy teachings of, you know, I am awareness that is wonderful, and I love it, and I'm not going to say anything negative about it because it was phenomenal. However, I feel like it was missing a little bit of a key component, and that is, yes, we need to quiet the mind and we need to be still, but we also need to function in this world as human beings, right? We still got to pay bills. We still got to like eat and sleep and put a roof over our head and, you know, all of the things. We still want things. We live in a world where material things are necessary, and that's part of what manifestation is taking the unseen and making it seen, right? Through the power of our imaginal acts. And so what I found is that that's the first component, is to be still and know that I am God. Even the phrase I am, like that phrase alone says everything. Be still and know that I am God. I, meaning you, meaning me. All of us have that God power within us. We are connected to the Father, to true source. And when we can quiet our minds and we can just be aware of all the chatter, and it's going to hit you like a fucking freight train, and it's going to come at you fast and furious. But it's okay, you know? We don't have to tap into that. We don't have to log on to the thoughts, you know? It's like, you know, emails, right? How many emails are we getting now? Like, it's going to be, now it's texts, right? So emails or texts, whatever. How many times, you know, in a day? And you're like, oh my God, you know, do you have to open every single one of them? Right? There are going to be emails that you're going to just say, no, I don't want, you know, look at them. You'll see them there. You'll read the heading, the subject line, whatever it is. It's kind of like that, where you get to see the subject line of whatever thoughts passing through the screen of your consciousness, but don't log on. Just choose not to log on. And I know it's hard, guys. I am not saying, oh, it's so simple, just don't log on. I mean, we've all had struggles with this, and there are some of us, even myself included, that continue to have struggles with this until we really absorb in the I am consciousness. You know, it's okay. And it doesn't mean that you're a fuck up or that you fucked up. It doesn't mean anything unless you give it meaning. So don't log on, right? Because it's like that warning label, you know, that you see, like, you know, or you know, it's like a junk email and you're like, oh shit, you know, it's a virus, don't log on. You know, it's kind of like that. Don't log on. Just watch the thoughts. Yes, they're going to pull you. Yes, they're going to try to, identity from your old self is going to try to pull you back into, oh shit, I didn't pay my bills, and oh my God, I didn't call so-and-so. Oh my God, which reminds me, I didn't do that. It's like just a stream of thoughts that are going to come, and it's going to come, and it's going to be sometimes waves, sometimes it's going to be a fucking tsunami, and sometimes it's just going to be maybe a couple of waves, and then maybe you'll have a pause of calm in between. But the point is that if we can sit and allow the tumultuous thoughts, the stream of thoughts of consciousness to run across, it's going to give us that space. And it might not happen right there, but over time, you'll see that it will allow, it's like cleaning out old files, right? If we think of it as a computer system, operating system, that's what our consciousness is. There's my cat. It will kind of just stream and allow them to be there. Just allow them to be there. The problem comes when we log on to them and then we identify with them, and then it pulls us back into the old identity, right? And that's why it's so important to be of calm mind and be still and really tap into this feeling of stillness. And sometimes it's not going to feel still when you're watching the thoughts and you're going to log on, and that's okay. But just keep at it. If you do it put a timer on 5 minutes and then increase it to 10, do like 15. You don't need to sit there for hours. We don't need to like go crazy unless you really want to. I mean, obviously, the more that we can do it, the more that we can silence ourselves to be still, really still, the more beneficial it is for us mentally, physically, and spiritually. But set a timer for 5 minutes and just start with that. And just let the thoughts come and let the thoughts go. You are not the thoughts. You are, not even the thinker. You are the awareness beyond it. That's what true awareness means. And it's kind of like a dream. I had a dream last night, and I know so many can identify with this. A lot of times when we're dreaming, we're the third party. We're the observer, right? It's very rare that it happens to us. We're usually watching the scene unfold, or it's like watching a movie, right? It's kind of like that. It's just kind of detached observation and watching the scene unfold, watching the thoughts come and go, and just not really attaching to them. And that's a good way to start being aware of the thoughts, because when we have awareness is when we can now see, well, who am I being? Who am I being? Am I being nervous, anxious, scared, or am I being God source, who is all loving, all knowing, and all trusting, right? And I think that's so important. When we become aware, then we can change the thoughts. We could also just be aware, even if we're not thinking, we can be aware of how we're feeling. So if you start feeling anxiety creeping up, anxiety means that you're caught up somewhere in the future. An anxious thought is a nervousness of something to come, or something that you're nervous about, that you're thinking about, that is not here, because there's only now, right? I never understood the power of now, the concept of the time of now, until I started really diving into this work. And I was like, well, what exactly does that mean? Like, there's only now. What does that mean? It means whenever we're thinking of something that's a future event that seems dreadful and horrid, we're imagining that thought now. Instead of just, seeing the best possible outcome, thinking of things that are good, thinking all the possibilities of things that are working out for you, even if it doesn't seem that way, but sticking to the end result that it is going to work out for you, and then letting the middle play out however it does, letting God, universe, source work that out, because we can't know. We don't know his ways. We don't know the ways. Even if it's our higher consciousness, we still don't know. We cannot predict and outlie every single step. It would be like trying to tell our bodies what to do every nanosecond. Try it. Good luck, like it's just not going to work. So you have to give it up. You have to trust that source, your higher power, whatever you want to call it, God, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, whatever, it doesn't matter. You just give it up to source. See the end as you would like it to be. And remain in that. Remain in that. And when we're calm, when we're nervous, do things that will actually calm you down. If it's affirmations, let it be affirmations. I am calm. I am loved. And it's not so much to tell God who you are, because God doesn't need to know how it's loved, it's calm, no. But our ego does. Our old identity of living in a world and in a life, for me, over 40 years of anxious thoughts and fears and worry, and I would always vacillate. I would always kind of like skim it, skim the edges of playing with manifestation and with the law of attraction, the law of assumption, the law of being, whatever you want to call it. I would always kind of skim the outside. I never really dove in, I would always dip a toe in and then come back out, and then I'd fall back asleep into my slumber, and 3 years later, oh shit, okay, Jen, I'm gonna try it again. And there's nothing wrong with that, because this is just the evolution of certain souls, and I happen to just be one of them. Maybe you are too, and that's okay. I'm not one of those Eckhart Tolles or like, Buddha, or very few of us are awakened souls where we just in 2 days or 3 days, boom, instant fucking changes of who you are being. Now, I'm not saying instant changes can't happen of what you're claiming, money, good fortune, positive things, seeing positive things, like whatever it is you want to see angel numbers, you see angel numbers, all of a sudden there's angel numbers everywhere. Why? Because it's in your field of awareness. right? God the Father, it's in our field of awareness now, and so now you can't stop seeing angel numbers, or like, I see lime green cars. Okay, one day you see them and now you just can't stop seeing them. Why? Because you put your awareness on it. That is God, that is Christ consciousness. But we can't control every single outcome of how things are going to happen. We just need to trust that it's going to happen, and stay calm and do things that will calm your body. Go dancing, go jogging, exercise, lift weights, yoga. One of the things that I've been doing lately too, which I find is actually really helpful, and I don't remember where I heard it, so I don't know, I can't give credit to the person or organization, but it's taking that energy, because it's anxiety, right? It's fearfulness and nervousness and tension, and it's, we're trying to sniff it out. We're worried about how things are going to play out. And we can take that energy and we can alchemize it into positive energy. We can take anxiety and turn it into excitement. We can take that fear and turn it into also excitement and joy and wonder. We can take sadness and alchemize it into a calm reassurance and a true joy. And how we can do that, one of the ways, well, there's several, but lately, like I said, I've been like really tensing up my body from my toes to my ankles to my calves, knees, thighs, stomach, chest, throat. If you believe in chakras, I do think that there are some energy centers, because I feel them, and I never really, I dabbled into it, but I never got fully into like chakras and all of that. But I feel sometimes this whirling, spinning in certain energy centers, that where these chakras or wheels are supposed to be. So whatever, it doesn't matter. It's the law of whatever works for you. But my point is that you're going to get nice and tense, and you're going to tense every freaking muscle in your body up to the crown of your head, and you are just going to hold it, and you are going to say, I transform and transmute this into light and love and positive, amazing energy. And you're going to release it with a like a popping a bubble. And you can do that 2, 3, 4 times. You could do that for a minute. It doesn't matter. Just, it's one way to alleviate anxiety, because it builds up in the body, and then it becomes hard to ignore, right? It's kind of hard to ignore sometimes. So that's one way of releasing that energy. Another way is to kind of just stroke your arms and tell yourself how loved and adored and cherished you are. Look in the mirror if you have to. Who cares? It's your world. And if it works for you and you look like an idiot, do you fucking care? Do you really care how stupid you might feel or look, as long as it works? If it's working and it's going to benefit you, and it's going to put you into the state of being where you get to be, do, or have whatever the fuck it is that you want, I don't care. I'll stand on my head. I'll fucking do one-legged fucking, I don't care. I will do whatever it takes. I don't care. Because that's what I'm calling in. I am calling in my future. And if it means that I have to do things to move that energy through my body, then that's what I'm going to do. So the other thing that I wanted to read tonight was Philippians 4:8. The verse which says, whatsoever things are lovely, right? Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good rapport, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. That is so powerful, because it means pleasing, it means admirable, it means the things that make us feel good, appreciation of ourselves and of things of others. Go outside, look at a flower, look at your loved one, look at your animals, think about something that made you feel good. It's just being in alignment with that and contemplating things that are beautiful and that make us feel good. Because why? Because we've been focusing and worshiping basically things that make us feel like shit. So why not now flip that, right? Flip it and start thinking of things that make us feel good, and change that energy into something that's going to help us to anchor into our new being that we're calling in. So this is what I am doing, and this is what I recommend. I really, really feel like this has truly been transforming my life. And I know that this is going to help you as well. So it's okay. You're going to have your doubts. I have my doubts. All the good ones, they all have their doubts. Listen, you learn as you teach, right? You learn as you teach. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, you're going to continually deepen in that understanding as you teach it, as you embody it, as you do it, right? The great athletes, they don't just wake up and they play, they imagine in their mind, and then they play, and they hone their craft. And this is part of that manifestation. You know, we always knew what to do. Now that we're conscious of it, we all get fucked up in the head, like, oh my God, what do I do now? Like, how do I do this? You know, we know what to do. We just need to calm ourselves down and live in the end, live from the end, as Neville Goddard says, and imagine it, and then do things that will calm us and put us in a state of calm, state of neutrality, so that the second part of that is we can truly manifest what we desire. That brings me right back to full circle in the beginning, which is what I said. I love Muji and I love being in the power of awareness, but I always felt like there was something missing. And that missing link for me was being able to come into stillness, to recognize that I am the thought, I am the power of God. I am before any thoughts, right? Which kind of clears the slate. It cleans the slate and puts us in a state of neutrality to then be able to truly focus on what it is that we are calling in to create from the identity of being one with the Supreme Being and pure consciousness. So I know this makes sense because it makes sense for me. And I know that for me, anxiety and fear was always the biggest, like, obstacle, which it isn't an obstacle unless you see it that way, right? That was a big thing I had to understand. This is not an obstacle. I am only making it an obstacle. I am believing that it's an obstacle. It's an illusion. It's truly an illusion. So stay in the identity of who you are calling in, and know that that is who you are, and do the things that you need to calm your body mind down so that you can be that person who has the money, the job, the raise, the whatever it is, the car, the vacations, the home, all of it. Because it's the identity of who you are being that is going to anchor in and create lasting, true change, where you become a new person, right? A new vessel. Anyway, I will assume that this makes sense and that you will have gained something from it. Drop some comments, because those are some little gems that were put in there. Let me know how you feel and anything that resonated with you in the comments so we can explore. And until the next time, I love you.